Hi, thank you for joining this edition of the Godcast with Josh Fritz. Thank you for watching and subscribing. Please do so if you can. Like and subscribe. Share the video, share the content. This video is about the fact that GraceLife Church continues to meet in secret. Pastor James Coates still meets in secret with his church due to the oppression from the Alberta province and their government coming down on them. So I'm going to read this article to you, which will be scrolling in the screen right to my side over here. With the long, twisted, sickly, decrepit arm of the law out in full force in Alberta, issuing fines and arresting pastors who dare to have open church services in defiance of the 15-person indoor maximum or a 5-person outdoor limit, GraceLife Church continues to meet in secret, worshiping their God and having services hidden away from the public view. They are not the only ones. We are aware of at least 4 more congregations in Canada who have proactively chosen to meet in secret, taking the drastic steps before the fines get any worse or before they accrue more scrutiny or attention from the government. For one church in central to eastern Canada that will remain nameless, already being subject to an undisclosed amount of dollars in fines, every Saturday evening congregants receive a text message from one of the 3 elders informing them where their location will be for the service the next day. Though this church uses basic SMS, we are aware of another congregation whose pastor encouraged all members to install Telegram on their phones in order to give them better end-to-end encryption while planning their meetup. The church has accrued at least 5 different locations where they are able to meet. Being fairly rural, most of the locations are either farms or members of acreages of friends of members that are sympathetic to the cause. These locations range from about 12 miles away all the way to 80 miles away, though they have not yet had to use the furthest site. The sites are all private, and their preferred location requires congregants to travel down gravel roads to get there, ensuring that 30 or so vehicles that make the trek cannot be seen by neighbors once they turn off the highway, being given coverage by trees on both sides. The locations are rotated through at random and are all outside, save one that is inside a barn and is only used if it is raining or on account of inclement weather. Everyone turns off their phones as soon as they leave their home out of an overabundance of caution. The church has eschewed instruments and has taken to singing a cappella instead, rather than have to run power to their location. They take communion every week, and the pastor raises his voice to preach. The congregation is small enough so as not to require amplification. Everyone sits on lawn chairs or spread blankets out on the ground, where babies flail on their bellies and toddlers will color or crawl around between people, the sermon punctuated by the sound of slapping as mosquitoes flitter around. The church says they will not gather back at their location until the prosecution eases up. I guess they meant it's a typo, persecution. Eases up, and they can gather at 75% building capacity without being harassed, fined, or thrown in jail. Back to GraceLife. We imagine that they have similar contingencies in place. That church has been meeting now for at least 6 weeks in secret, with their last service at their property being April 4th, 2021. They have at least 2 different locations between which they alternate, according to hints from the video, and have taken steps to mitigate discovery that we are not at liberty to mention here, but which warms the cockles of our hearts. Once the site of hundreds of protesters, the old chained-up church building sits empty, with security guards still monitoring the property lest the congregants break in and gather for an illegal service in their absence. Before, a media maelstrom was upon them, but now they haven't been mentioned in the news in over a month. Even as the government of Alberta has stepped up their pressure and policing of wayward churches who wish to meet. The province has doubled the fines from $1,000 to $2,000 and announced that they are partnering with several agencies including Alberta Gaming, Liquor and Cannabis, AHS, OHS, and provincial prosecutors to target repeat offenders and those who are refusing to bend the knee to Caesar. GraceLife continues to upload videos of their services, still drawing hundreds of parishioners, but they are markedly different now. Gone is the inclusion of worship in their videos, showing which musicians are on stage singing. There are no more tracking shots of the congregants worshiping. something that was a mainstay in previous months, or images of them listening intently to the sermon. Now, their content only features Pastors James Coates or Jacob Spence, in front of a nondescript gray background, the camera cropped to remove any trace of location hints or giveaways. Last year, they were averaging 350 to 400 viewers person sermon video watched, so under 1,000. Now they have, the last 5 videos are 14,000, 9,000, 8,000, 13,000, and 107,000 views. Alberta Health Services spokesman Carrie Williamson, the mouthpiece of the chief prosecutor of churches, Dr. Dina Hinshaw, told the Edmonton Journal that she's well aware that the underground church of GraceLife is having services and posting videos of their sermons, but doesn't have the ability to enforce health measures, noting, AHS Environmental Public Health can only investigate if we have an address or location. We currently do not have that. We are glad you don't have it, and we hope you never will, says the article. And in that article is the last sermon, which was from about a week ago, Suffer According to the Will of God, by Pastor James Coates. And I'm sure there's another video coming out today or tomorrow on the yesterday's sermon, I'm sure. So with that, that's what's going on in regards to GraceLife Church. There was a pastor also up in Canada who was arrested yesterday. I do not have the information on that. I know that he was arrested in front of his children. This particular pastor, the name escapes me at the moment, but I'm sure those of you that watch my videos know who this gentleman is. And Pastor Pawlowski he's another pastor who is, in which I have given videos on here. He's also been released, and he had some content in which I'm willing to share later, of which the persecution he endured also when he was behind bars. Pray for these pastors, all of them, that are under intense persecution, those that are publicly named and those that are not. Again, this is north of my border, the United States, and I'm very concerned because that's all that oppression is ramped up, and meanwhile in our country, in the United States, a lot of these restrictions have been lifted. So pray for the Canadian pastors and pray for the believers in there that they might be strengthened and encouraged no matter what may happen. If you like this content, share this content on this platform. You can email me at josh@thegodcast.com. I see a lot of your comments. I thank you for letting me know how you feel. I thank you for those that disagree with me, and we can actually be mutual in that. But I see the error of the way of these governments. They're too oppressive, and I think of these pastors a lot because I'm not going through that, and it's a different mindset south of the border. So just pray for these men, and that they might have the faithfulness and the perseverance to get through this, and know that if you want to support them in prayer. That's really more important, actually. And if there are any financial means, I'll look to see if I can provide that for you at a later date. As I know one is behind bars right now, but I think it's Pastor Stevens is behind bars. So pray for these men. All right, with that, thank you for listening, for watching. God bless. We'll see you next time here on the Godcast with Josh Fritz.